So XDefiant has a pretty unique unlock system when it comes to the weapons and devices in this game, seeing as they are tied to challenges rather than just unlocking X or Y weapon at certain player levels. And although they're all pretty easy to unlock, some of them are a little bit more niche than others in that you really have to kind of change your playstyle in order to get them. And unfortunately, those ones tend to be the best weapons in the game. So today I'm going to run you through the 3 or 4 weapons you should absolutely be prioritizing, as well as some tips on how to unlock them as soon as possible. Now we're going to be focusing on unlocking the MP7, the P90, the 93R pistol, and the ACR, which in my opinion, at least outside of the pistol anyway, are all probably top 5 or so weapons in the entire game. And like I said, they are a little bit more annoying to unlock compared to some of the other guns that are literally just deal X amount of damage with X weapon class. The ones we're going through in today's video really do require you to actually change your playstyle if you want to get them sooner rather than later. Now getting straight into it, we're going to start with the MP7, which in my opinion is the best SMG in the entire game, and it is probably one of the top 3 weapons overall in the game too. And in order to unlock the MP7, you do need to get 20 point blank kills, which can be pretty damn annoying to do, to be honest. Now, any of you guys who have done the mastery grind in previous Call of Duties, you'll probably have PTSD like I do, but the good thing to know is that in this game, you don't have to be quite as close to get point blank kills as you do in Call of Duty. It's anything within a 5-meter radius, whereas I feel like in COD, you have to literally stick the gun up the enemy's ass and shoot them, otherwise it won't count as a point blank. So it's not too bad, but it is still kind of frustrating compared to a lot of the other challenges. So I'm going to share a few tips on how to do this as easy as possible. Now, the best tip is essentially just to use the Echelon class with the digital ghillie suit, which essentially just makes you go invisible. Use that to kind of be stealthy and get behind enemies, pull off some flanks and stuff like that. And then doing that will allow you to sneak up behind enemies and pretty much get right next to them without them really noticing, which is obviously going to allow you to get those point blank kills a lot easier. Something else that I found really useful as well was playing the more linear modes like Escort or Zone Control, and obviously depending if you're attacking or defending, sort of like camping and waiting for the enemies to run past you and then sort of follow them towards the objective. So if you're the defending team, for example, hiding in a spot where they're going to run straight past you and then you can just tail them and wait until they stop. They're not usually going to even know that you're there, and again, you are behind them, which allows you to get these point blank kills a lot easier. Those are really the only tips I can give. This is a very frustrating one to do. Now, it doesn't take that long. It only took me, I think, 3 or 4 games, so it shouldn't take you guys that long at all. But yeah, you will have to unfortunately change your playstyle quite a bit, and keep in mind the point blank kills need to be with an SMG, not with any other weapon. Now, moving on, we have the P90, and this requires you to get 10 hip fire kills with an SMG as well. Now, the best thing to do with these is simply just do them while you're doing the previous challenges that I just mentioned for the MP7. Realistically, if you are close enough to get a point blank kill, you are close enough that hip fire is going to be an effective strategy. And so doing these at the same time as the MP7 challenges is literally all you need to do. There's really no other tips I can give other than the tips I already gave for the MP7. And so yeah, this one is pretty damn easy. On top of that, it is obviously half the amount of kills. So realistically, you should probably get this in at most 2 games, I would say. And again, being sort of stealthy and getting behind enemies is obviously the way to go. If you try and run at someone and hip fire at them when they're aimed down sights, they are probably going to win that gunfight. So play it smart, try and get behind enemies and stuff like that, and you'll get both of these SMGs in no time at all. Now, before we get on to the next 2 weapons, if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. There's going to be so many more videos like this on the way covering XDefiant. I'm going to be doing full weapon breakdowns and all that kind of thing, going through all the stats you need to know, all the tips and tricks you could ever need in this game, so make sure you don't miss out. Now, next up we have the 93R pistol, and this one is very, very easy. The reason I mention it is that you do still have to do something in particular to unlock this. It's not as simple as some of the other ones, but it is literally the easiest one you'll ever do. This requires you to sprint for 240 seconds with your secondary out. Obviously, that is literally the most simple thing you'll ever do, but I thought I would throw that in here because this is probably the best pistol in the game, and so it is worth doing this early, and then you've got this equipped for every single class, as well as the fact that although the challenge is easy, not everyone's going to be doing it if you're not paying attention to what these challenges are. So like I said, this one is pretty easy. In a linear mode, for example, when you're on the attacking team, it gives you a really good amount of time before the round actually starts. Don't spend that time just standing at the gate ready to get into the action. Literally just pull your pistol out, run around in circles, and pretty much 1 game, I would say maybe 2 at most, you should be able to get this done. Like I said, this one is very, very simple. And on top of that anyway, you should actually be running with your pistol most of the time anyway, at least in the linear modes where you've got a long way to run from the spawn point to the objective, because running with your pistol is a lot faster. So it is a good habit to just get into as well, pulling out your pistol when you need to run a long distance. Now, lastly, we have got the ACR, which in my opinion is the best weapon in the game currently. It's probably tied with the M16, but for the way that I play anyway, the ACR is definitely the best in the game. And I actually think it will get a pretty big nerf in the next update. So it's worth jumping on this now, being able to use it when it is really strong, which will obviously help you level it up a lot faster. It's not something you want to wait for and then try and level this up when they inevitably nerf it. Now, to unlock the ACR, you will need 10 long shot kills with an assault rifle. The M16 is probably the best long range AR in the game. Realistically, you can do this with any of the ARs, but I will say the M16 is probably the best. I would recommend getting the red dot sight, which is obviously unlocked at only level 2, and you will dominate at long range. It is a little bit hard to see enemies at sort of that long shot range when you are just using iron sights, at least for me anyway. And so as soon as you get it, put that red dot sight on and you will no doubt get this done in probably 1 or 2 games. The long shots can be a little bit annoying, but realistically they're not that hard at all. What I will say is that Mayday, Dumbo and Liberty are probably the best maps with the most prolific, like, long lines of sight in high traffic areas. So if you get onto any of those maps, it is definitely worth pulling out that M16 or just any assault rifle, trying to get to some of these long shot kills. And again, just any linear mode is also probably good. They've got a lot of long lines of sights in those maps as well. Like I said, you want to get this one as soon as possible. As soon as I started using this, I've been doing so much better. For me, it is by far the best weapon in the game. So make sure you're getting this before it gets that nerf. But that is it for some of the best early unlocks you guys should be prioritizing in XDefiant. Of course, you should just be unlocking everything you can, but these are the best options as well as some of the hardest ones to unlock. So most of the other weapons will come a little bit more naturally. Like I said, lots of those ones are just get X amount of damage with X weapon class, and you don't really need to focus on those. You can just get them naturally while playing, compared to these ones that do require a little bit of a playstyle change. But that is going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there in the arena.